I give you this mic, Satori. One more mic. One mic short. Batida, you can't say anything. Sorry. Come a bit with the table. To the table with me. Let's listen to some music before we start. So I can introduce the four of them to you. 1 second. Let's first listen to Satori. The track The Greatest Against the World. Van het album In Between Worlds. Geef het maar wat geluid. But he just returned from a tour in the USA. He played amongst other festivals at the Coachella Festival. Can you tell a bit about that? How did it go in the US?
It was really nice because in the... Can everybody hear me? Yeah? Okay, cool. In the US, this type of electronic music, the more world approach to electronic music, it's getting really big. It's something I was surprised to experience that, because in America they were kind of used to listen to Afrojack and Chesto and like Armin van Buuren, but they start digging to look for other more underground electronic music, and they discovered this in Europe, so it's becoming really big in America. So I was playing I really like big stages. For Coachella was for like 4,000 people, so, and it's kind of new for me because normally underground clubs are more like 500 people. So it was a real surprise to see this music on such a big stage.
Okay, today you will play with your band.
Yeah.
In the USA you were alone, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And what is the difference in doing a gig there and doing this with a band here at Music Meeting?
That's a good one. Well, when I play alone, I have my own solo live set, and I can kind of on the fly jam with all the sounds I record or made or sampled or produced myself. So I can be really spontaneous in an electronic way. With the band, of course, it's more like a program. We rehearse, kind of jam in between. So that's maybe the difference. Yeah. So playing alone is more like me and my own ideas. Playing with the band is more like letting this music you hear come alive with 3 musicians instead of me on my electronic controls.
Okay, I'll come back to you later. Just for you to know, at 7:15 here at the Mezzo stage, Satori will play with his band. I want to go to Anchorsong. Just listen to your music a few seconds. Anchorsong is living in London, if I'm correct.
Yes, yeah.
And is from Japan, of course. Just a small correction, I said that Satori played at this stage at 7:15, but it's Anchorsong, and he will battle against Satori at the intro stage. That's all in the game in the festivals. Can you explain a little bit what we heard in this song? What are the samples we hear?
In this song?
Yes, in this song.
I collected all kind of the samples from. I don't even remember the results because I'm sure that I think this song includes more than 10 samples, so it's kind of mixed. Some of them are from maybe West Africa, some of them maybe East Asia. So
okay, so it's traditional music you sample.
Yeah,
you use to make new music.
Yeah, I think the most of the music is from like 70s, maybe some of them 80s, but none of them are the contemporary music. So and I just mix it with my own production, like my own the sound collection.
And how do you approach that if you play live? Do you use the same samples and you use them on another way, improvising, or?
It's not that much improvising actually. But I perform in particular way. I don't use laptop on the stage. What I use is just two instruments. The main one is called the MPC. It's a sampler. It's like a drum machine, and also the keyboard. And what I do is to make the music in front of the people, like on the fly. So I make lots of loops and loops on the fly, and so yeah, everything I play there will be looped on the stage. So it's quite physical, and the music I perform on the stage is pretty similar to my own recording, because basically my music is based on that the performance idea. So I try not to make the structure of the song not too complicated. So because otherwise I wouldn't be able to perform that way. So basically my music is based on my performance. So and I think that I play the pretty simple way. So if people see me like maybe 2 minutes, they would understand what I'm doing, because it's really physical.
Thank you. At the Metro stage at 7:15, Anchorsong. Officerfishdumplings.
Hello.
Great name.
Thank you.
Where does it come from?
It actually comes
Everyone
from,
asks that.
So it's a discontinued food product made by a Danish company named Bornholms. They have a whole line of Officer canned products, and Officerfishdumplings used to be one of those.
I go to video now. Let's see if I can. You have an instrument, if you can call it like that, which you call the culturator. Can you explain a little bit what it is?
Sure. Yeah.
Or do you want us to see this first? Yeah.
Yeah. It's easier to.
in the middle of the screen, you see this calculator, which you use it to have all these video effects, audio and video together.
Yeah, well, so I'll take a little bit of a step back. So this is a project I started about 4 years ago. It's an insane project. I'm an insane person and maybe a masochist, but it's incredibly rewarding. It's very time consuming. So basically the project requires me traveling to different places around the world. I'm from Morocco originally, so I started the project in Morocco, and I went to a lot of different villages, in the desert, on the top of a mountain, etc., and found traditional musicians in Morocco, and me and my team will record them and film them. And so the purpose of the project is to do two things. One, to celebrate the traditional music. So when we film them, we do it in such a way that we can produce the original songs, and on our Facebook page and our website, you can see the original song from all of these videos that you see that are being remixed. And then I remix them and create something new out of it. And I've created this platform that allows me to kind of improvise with these different video loops that I've extracted from the music that we shot ourselves.
And what is it what we see in the middle of the screen? Is that an existing product, or?
So that's actually an iPad. I just kind of built an interface. I have a number of different, if you will, sort of physical manifestations of this platform. One of them is this this incredibly heavy thing that I didn't bring with me, but that I left in Morocco, that I built myself. I built a bunch of MIDI controls, and it's got this kind of like third world kind of rustic look to it, and I've taken it to streets in Casablanca and other places where I just kind of left it out there for people to come and play, so anyone can, there's sort of like there's the version where I'm performing, where I allow myself to do a little more complicated things, but then there's the version where I can just like leave this tool, this instrument, in a public place, and people can come and make their own video remixes. And when they're doing it, they know, oh, I'm playing that traditional bass instrument from the south of Morocco, and now I'm mixing it with a pandero from Brazil, etc., etc.
And tonight you use this iPad to...
No, tonight I'm using more standard MIDI controls and my laptop. Yeah.
And how do you approach that tonight when you play live? You think about it on the spot, or do you, like Satori mentions, more like a program? How will you do it tonight?
It's a combination of the two. Obviously, because we're dealing with some complicated source material, the video and the audio needs to sync up, and there's a tremendous amount of work that needs to go beforehand to make sure that everything is in place. But I have a lot of different things, and I know the things that kind of go well together, but I leave myself enough room to be spontaneous and improvise, and especially with like effects, when I apply an effect, I can drag it on, etc., and then bring another loop, etc. So there's a lot of room for me to be spontaneous and kind of play with it, but there's a lot of structure that has to be in place. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Officerfishdumplings will play this mezzo stage at 9:30. Batida. Shall we listen to some music first? Batida will tonight perform with Konono #1. And most probably this song will be in the program too?
Yes, it will.
Which I shouldn't do. I skipped a little bit further. This is French, sorry. This is the performance, the album together with Konono #1. I want to listen the audience to some music of yourself too. The track Seiyu from his latest album. Okay, Batida. I don't know if I can mention you Batida or Pedro, but Batida is the...
You can call me Luis if you want. It's not a problem.
Of course, you have your own great multimedia show with Batida. I saw it twice, I think. A very great show. Konono #1 is a very different band with what I would call traditional contemporary music from Africa. It's so weird, great music with the instruments they play. Now you came together, I think, in the beginning of this year, in your studio in Lisbon.
Yeah.
And can you tell a bit about getting together, this band from Congo, Konono #1, and your background in Angola, how that worked together?
Yeah. First of all, I would like to say that I was listening to all of you, and I personally, there's this thing that I'm feeling for a while, for some years, which I think there's some people that I met along the way that have a similar way of thinking, a bit more to the left, a bit more to the right, but it's more or less the same thing. Like, for example, the need that you have to have a band, but to make a different approach with a band, you have to relate with them. But when you are alone, you have to be, I think you said, like, you have to be spontaneous also, electronically. I found that expression very true. So electronic music can be spontaneous, and because when you are in control, it's just you and the machine, so it can be eventually more spontaneous than with a band, because you have to take everyone in account. I like the fact that you have the need to have a MIDI controller in your own way built, and to allow people to play it. I relate with that a lot, and I relate also a lot with the idea of not having the laptop on stage. You can have it, but you can hide it or something, because these days the laptop is like anything. The laptop can do anything, and music is something way more precious and about getting together, that sometimes the image of the laptop can put you away from it. So I relate with what you do and what I heard, the small snaps. But yeah, getting together with Konono, the first thing I had to feel, or I felt, is like it's me meeting a band that exists for decades, and I face them as urban music from Kinshasa. This is just my thing, because sometimes we tend to look at African music always as something ethnic or tribal or world, but it's not. Konono is just electrified and piano, very crazy. Could be from New York, but it's from Kinshasa, and it's so modern, or it was so modern, that they still play it the same way today, and we find it's contemporary. So that's how modern it was when they did try to make the own controller or own thing, which is in the end what the Likembe is. And so getting together with them was like being like very lucky to be sharing space with this historical band, and some of them like really historical guys, and actually to be accepted, or to find my way to be accepted. Because if you go to a studio with recorded tracks and you work on them, that's something we know how to do it. It's kind of, even if it's like hard work, it's our thing. Or at least mine, it's easy. I'm not like a studio wizard, but I can find my way. And but if you have people around you and you play with them, you have to you have to be with them. They have to be with you. You have to accept them also, and you have to put your ideas out and then accept what's coming back and actually to feel what the other is feeling. So it was really a challenge because it was me alone on a garage. It was mine with 5 guys, and Vincent Kenny's also. So it was me with 6 other guys. So in terms of democracy, that's very, yeah. And even in terms of if it gets physical, it's also challenging for me because it's me with against, oh no, actually one woman, but the woman is probably the strongest. So yeah, so it was physically demanding, spiritually very, very demanding. It was quite an experience.
And are you happy with the result?
I'm never happy, but I think I'm happy.
How did you combine your background with that of Konono? Of course, it's a creative process. I understand that, but where do you start if you are in that garage at your place?
Yeah, it's almost an equation. If you see, it's Konono plus Batida, so it's them plus me. It's not the opposite. So it's not me presenting Konono, or this is how I see Konono. No, it's actually just a small. It's like we are 7, so it's like 1/7. Trying to bring something to the rest of the group, because even Vincent Kenny, the producer, was already with them for a while, so it's just another guy on the block. But what was the question?
You sit together. Mm-hmm. How do you start a song?
Oh, okay.
How do you work on it?
Okay, rhythmically, for example, it's quite easy. I remember since I was a small, since the first time I got into drumming, I'm not a drummer, but the first time I had interaction with the drum, I always did the same beat, which is kind of roughly what I do still today. And if it was me with my cousins, we were always playing these kind of syncopated rhythms. I don't know why, and we didn't talk too much about it. No one was interviewing us, so we just played it. And it was always the same thing. There was no need for explanation. It was just kids making music. And we were born, me and my cousins, in Angola. And my family is part Angolan, others like Portuguese Angolan. And the rhythms were always like that, like kind of syncopated rhythms that are very similar to some stuff that Konono do, like kind of, not necessarily sukus, but this kind of pattern that I will not do on the microphone just now. But so there are many things on their music that I relate with naturally. Even though Kinshasa, it's not that far from Luanda, and actually the border of Angola, between Angola and Congo, it's not something natural. It was something drawn. If you see, Africa is full of that kind of frontiers that are not natural, because they were made with by someone. So they cut rivers in half, probably eventually people in half, and love in half, and that doesn't exist. So love and rhythm, it goes back and forth on that area for some time, way before I was here. So it was just actually let the things flow. There are some things that we are very connected with, others we are very different, and that's where the development comes. And I would say, to put it simple, like in Angola, where in Congo African music is very identifiable by the positivity of the melodies. Even if Konono are playing on a funeral or a wedding, it's always like the same vibe. You can think about it, but it's like very happy and African, like joyful music, even if you are talking about a dead person. But in Angola, there's always this kind of need, or it's natural for us to go into a melancholic place, and so that's the biggest difference. It's like Angolan can be more melancholic, and in Congo it's always very like uplifting. And in terms of rhythm, Congolese rhythms are always like pushing forward, and in Angola we are always like dancing like this, like going back. I don't know why, but for me it's more comfortable. but yeah, that's it. Then the Portuguese influence, I don't know, but I'm sure there's something there also, and so it was natural, and it was enriching. I hope for both. For me, it was.
It's a beautiful record, really beautiful. Yeah. Tonight, you will play with them and with your controllers, I guess, etc. And how do you approach that? How do you play with them? Because they're acoustic, electrified, of course, but acoustic instruments.
They do their thing. They are like an animal. They just go. It's like the band. It's like getting inside the Beatles.
So what is it? What you do?
It's impossible. Yeah, I try to find my way in. So I put myself exactly in the middle, so I can feel everyone, and even if the monitors are not like perfect, I can feel everyone. But I'm behind Pauline, so no one sees me. It's the best place to be on that stage. So yeah, I put myself in the middle and I try to find my way in. In terms of beats, the times that I put beats on, it's not many. I tried the beat to follow the drummer and not the opposite. So it's not like you have a click and you have to play on my beat, which is a bit violent for a drummer, but it's the best way to make it work. But I try to do the opposite. It's more uncomfortable for me, but it's more comfortable for everyone. So it's up to him to decide where he goes, and my beat will follow him. So it's actually his foot who is controlling the tempo and the tempo of my electronic beats. So if anything goes wrong, it's VC's fault, it's not mine. I told him that. I said, you have two options, or we do this like very sexy and very like shallow way, but it will work. People like sexy, and it won't fail. Or we fail, and it may be eventually better. What do you want? But if it fails, it's your fault. And so no, I take it. So all the failures are on VC. Everything that goes right, it's because of my input. And apart from those beats, I also have like a very shitty synthesizer with only 5 notes. Yeah, it could be the name shitty synthesizer. Actually, it's more delicate. It's called Chaos Engine. It doesn't sound so proper, but so it's shitty synthesizer. I think it's probably more honest because I'm not that chaotic. But it's like a thing with 5 notes, because Augustin and even like the bass djembe and the lead djembe, they don't play too many notes. So everything is around the same note. So I try just to be with them and not like inventing new chords or something like that, because I don't know to do that. So it's just the shitty synthesizer, Chaos Machine, and then like me controlling some beats and stuff that I take out of my laptop, and my dikanza, which is actually an Angolan traditional instrument.
Your
dikanza. People may know it as African guiro, which is very offensive because Africa is quite big, but it's not like European guiro. It's like, well, what's that? European like big things that you have here. It doesn't sound proper. So it's like a specific guiro from Angola. It's like a reco, but it's called dikanza. So yeah, I use that on a song. The others is like the synthesizer and some weird sounds that I have taken out of my computer. So it's just another sound. It's like 5 sounds with another sound, not like me taking over and taking the charge. No, it's Konono plus Batida.
Makes us very curious.
Yeah, you asked me to bring this. Now, if I don't do it, it will be very weird.
I didn't see it. Yeah, please.
If I leave the stage without opening, it will be very strange.
Open it, please. It's this MIDI controller.
So it's not that a big thing, but it's like...
And it looks great.
Yeah, this is just a controller, a MIDI controller in the end. It's like a MIDI fighter hardware with some electric stuff that I put on.
Let me show it to the audience.
So it's kind of, it's kind of an MPC versus...
Sponsored by Shell.
Yeah, Shell can do good things. Rarely. Especially the trash. The trash can be used for something. Not what they produce, but the trash they leave.
But with this you trigger all kinds of samples and...
Yeah, this is a controller. So the thing is like, this is like to give it more like a romantic approach, instead of being just, it's like your big thing in Morocco that no one is willing to pay to bring. But so this is smaller. But this is like kind of a romantic view. Instead of playing on a very like amazing, sexy German controller, I think it's better to play it like this, because I fail more when I play like this, and I think people pay to see failure. Yeah, so it's a way to play sounds and tweak some whatever it's going on the computer, but instead of being like checking with my mouse with this kind of. So this is more about you. It's more about the audience to check an object, and this is also very similar to the djembes the Konono use. It was done before, but it's kind of beat and that kind of instruments that you play like this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an
like
MPC.
A thumb piano.
Yeah, it's like a thumb piano versus MPC versus African oil blues guitar, that kind of stuff. That's it. And it fails.
Thank you. Thank you. At a quarter to 11 in the Apollo, Konono number 1 with Batida. Any questions from the audience for these producers? Although they have told a lot, I think. Nothing? It's 5:30, we have to stop. So I want to thank Satori, Officerfishdumplings, Anchorsong, Batida. A little detail, the brother of Officerfishdumplings is